Open up the door, it's Dave! Who?
Hey everyone, it's Dave. Welcome to my channel, Just What Do You Think You're Doing, Dave? I hope this will be a fun, educational, entertaining, maybe as Walt Disney called it, edutainment type of channel, where I talk about some fun topics in engineering, the sciences, the physical world, things that are going on that are of interest. Look, I see things all the time that intrigue me. I'll see an article about something related to science or engineering, and I'm like, ooh, I should share that. Plus, I've got a lot of stuff up here that I like to share, that I like to go out there and talk about. And when somebody will listen and somebody's interested, it's always fun to go out there and share that in some way. So what I'd like to do on this channel is start doing that, share that knowledge that I have in some way, and help you to understand the physical world around us. So what I'm hoping is you'll give me a chance to entertain you, to enlighten you just a little bit. The goal is to keep all of my videos under 10 minutes, to talk about a topic, to kind of have some fun with it, and then move on. I hope you'll join me on this journey as I talk about things that are happening around us in the physical world. I think it's a lot of fun to talk about these topics, and hopefully you'll enjoy them too. Now, I know you've probably got a couple of questions for me, so let me try and answer those questions up front in this video. Good question. Where does the name Just What Do You Think You're Doing, Dave come from? Well, 2001: A Space Odyssey was a film by Stanley Kubrick in the 1960s. And it talks about mankind finding a monolith, and there's a connection to Jupiter, so we go off to explore. And we send a group of astronauts out there, and most of them are killed off by the intelligent automation that's on board the spacecraft. His name is HAL 9000. HAL being a take on IBM. Everything's one character off from IBM. And in the end, there are two guys left who are fighting for their survival. But HAL is on its own mission. And there's a lot of mystery around what that mission is exactly. But in the end, he kills off one of the two people, and the other one's name is Dave. And Dave actually winds up entering an alternate universe, and there's some intriguing little sci-fi things that happen there. But along the way, as Dave is trying to turn off HAL, HAL says to him,
"Just what do you think you're doing, Dave?"
Which is like the classic quintessential moment in being named Dave, and having an interest in sci-fi just works for me. So I thought it was a perfect name for the channel. What are my credentials? Well, I have a master's degree in engineering, and I've done a lot of work throughout my career in the space that's related to engineering. So I have a lot of knowledge of engineering and the sciences. Plus, I've always been someone who watches a lot of these programs like NOVA, and I'm very fascinated by them. And even when I'm not working as an engineer, I apply a lot of engineering principles. And I like to think like that. It's a creative way of thinking, and that's going to be a video that's coming up talking about what engineering is. Now, as far as my own history on the interwebs, I've done a lot of different things. I actually was the first person to come up and create a site related to the Miami Dolphins. And that was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. And then I started podcasting about the Miami Dolphins, and I did a couple of videos along the way. It was fun to kind of vlog, if you will, about the team. But unfortunately, there's only so much space to talk about the Dolphins. There's only one game a week to talk about, but I wanted more. So I started talking about Disney World because I'm actually a passionate Disney fan too. Some of the engineering that goes into what goes on there is really fascinating to me. So later I started doing a podcast specifically about Disney, and it lasted for a little over 10 years, and I really enjoyed doing it. But again, time moved on and it was time to do something else. So I started talking about Disney history in a video series, and you're welcome to check out that video series. It's pretty cool. I talk about a lot of historical things that happened at Disney World and some interesting things that went into the planning and design of the parks and sort of how we got here where we are today. So that's kind of a fun lark for me. Now, I also do some other stuff. I've had this channel for a while, and it's kind of morphed through several different things. But I think this is the one that really captures me. It's the one that really gets me going, gets me out of bed in the mornings to talk about things in the physical world, to talk about engineering and that sort of thing. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. At least I hope it will, and I hope you'll enjoy the journey. Yes, the elephant in the room. What's with the funny part in the beginning of my video and the end of my video? At the beginning of my video, because I'm a Dave and I really enjoy hearing my name in pop culture, I decided to use it in here. Yeah, maybe it's a little silly and a little trivial, but it's just to engage that sort of edutainment thing, right? I want to be entertaining in a way. I want to have some fun with it. Then at the end of the video, you'll hear a clip from Schitt's Creek because David was one of the main characters, and what better way to talk about it than everybody going, "David!" all the time.
Ouch, David.
Oh my god, ew, David!
David! David! David! What?
What's your point, David? David. Snap, David. David.
So I thought it would just encapsulate that. If you'd like to interact with me, please feel free to comment on any of these videos. I'm happy to engage an audience and talk to you guys. And as time goes on, I'll figure out if there's other ways we can have conversations as well, beyond just using YouTube. But that's kind of my goal. To be honest, the phrase, if we can dream it, we can do it, is a little unclear in its origin. It definitely came from the Walt Disney Company, but who actually said it is a little bit in debate. It could have been that there was a copywriter who said it. It could have been one of the Imagineers. We do know that it was not Walt who said it himself, but it was someone in the company who repeated that line. So in a way, this is capturing the essence of what Walt Disney is. As I said, I'm a fan of the Walt Disney Company. So when I hear things like that, it works for me. And I like to repeat things like that. So you'll hear me say at the end of most of my videos, if we can dream it, we can do it. Because it really does capture sort of the essence of what engineering is. And you'll hear more about that on future videos.
What's your point, David?